I say good morning? May I say good show? May I say what I'd love to say every once in a while? We've got the kind of a show today that I'd love to do, kind of a Cracker Barrel coffee clutch, and we're going to invite down all of our friends today. Pat Garrish, Tony D, Sister Mary Beata, and Morty Storm. They are doing bagels in Blarney all over the countryside, the Singing Nun and the one and only Morty Storm the Toad. We've got Stephen Joseph Sinopoli, the foremost astrologer. We've got in our studio today Lynn Ross, who's got a hit song. We've got Bob Chevy, and we've got the winner of many, many, many box office popularity polls right now, a little bit of down memory lane on this program with Mr. Elliott Gould, leaning back doing one of his favorite recitations very, very recently. Elliott Gould.
Genius and Talent by Edmund Vance Cook. The first great hitter I recall was old Jim White. This great locator of the ball leaped into sight in 70-something, and I still recall his poise, copied and practiced with a will by all us boys. Jim stood widespread to meet the ball. He held his bat at carry arms, as did we all. We fell down flat, but what of that? We knew the method must be right because we did it just like White. He lost our love and fell from grace. The cause was simple. The official scorer gave his place to James Dalrymple. Dal hung his bat behind his neck with feet together. We followed at the bell and beck of this new weather. He was our diamond god, and we were most devout. Before his shrine, we bent the knee, nor felt a doubt. When we struck out, our faith was like the pyramid. We did it like Dalrymple did. The next year's leader at the plate stood stern and solemn, and held himself and war club straight as any column. One Adrian Anson was this man of new reliance, and once again we changed our plan of batting science. We marked his mane. This look, that frown might be the key, but still the pitchers mowed us down in 1, 2, 3. Nor could we see how anything could be the matter, for Anson was the champion batter. At last, a light began to burn in every noddle, by which we saw that each must learn from his own model. The style which suited old Jim White was good for Jim. Dalrymple's style was also quite correct for him. And Anson never had succeeded in word or act by following the plan which we did. The whole thing's packed upon this fact: you'll make no hit, believe it true, by doing just like others do.
Boom, I'm in receipt of a letter addressed to the noted sportscaster alongside me, the noted sports announcer, Pat Garrish, care of the Joe Franklin Show. What will be the effect, asks this lady, or this man, I guess, of the Major League Baseball continuously expanding into more cities, more stadiums, more teams? What might be the consequences of this dilution of talent? And is there a fear of minor league players going into the majors? That's a fascinating question.
It is a good question. As a matter of fact, the quality of baseball, I think, is going to go down with the expansion, because years ago, the big teams, major league teams, had a lot of good players in the minor league system. Now it's not so. So I think with the expansion, it's going to have an effect on the quality of play in baseball.
And in terms of winning the gold, now that we had Michael Jordan over there, we had Magic Johnson over there, how about some outstanding American baseball players for the 1996 Olympics? Is that a possible? We did the basketball, why not the baseball next time?
Well, there's a possibility of doing baseball. I mean, you have top quality guys like Jose Canseco, or you got a Don Mattingly, who we saw, by the way.
Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, Dodgers.
Sure, any of the teams. I mean, they're major league players. I mean, I think they... But you see, the Japanese have great players. So, you know, people might think that we're going to dominate that. I don't think so. I think we'll win, but...
Any theory, Tony D, on bringing in the best of the baseball players in the 1996 Olympics? What's your...
Just bring the best in, that's
Why not?
all.
Richie Ornstein, you're a sports fan, which I'm not, but what's your feeling?
I think that would be great if we could roll the clock back and bring in Whitey Ford and Mickey Mantle, Eddie Lopat,
Babe Ruth.
Vic Raschi, Babe Ruth.
Talking about Eddie Lopat, you want to tell our friends what this is, Richie?
That was our dear friend Eddie Lopat's last appearance just before he passed away on the Joe Franklin Show. And the time that he was here before that was about 25 years prior. And Eddie was one of the greatest pitchers in baseball and a true gentleman on and off the field. We miss him a lot.
I've asked Pat Garrish, who organized a day in my honor at the Yankee Stadium. We're going to show some videotapes soon of that. I've asked Pat Garrish and Richie Ornstein and Tony D to be with me today to sort of audition for the big time, something that's been appearing locally in churches and in synagogues and in Atlantic City at various conventions. And this lady is known and loved as the singing nun, Sister Mary Beata. And Morty Storm has been many times Frank Sinatra's opening act, and we happen to know that he's one of Frank's very favorite comedians. And before we do it, can I say, Tony D, I hear you on the radio on Sunday mornings. You sound great.
Thank you, Joe. I hear you every Saturday night, early Sunday morning as I'm driving in.
I'm in that kind of sentimental mood. We spoke yesterday about Martin Block, the man who paved the way for all the radio personalities who followed in his voice steps, in his footsteps, and he sort of made the big bands big business, right? Who else might have... talk about some of the old-time disc jockeys.
Well, William B. Williams.
Right.
There you go, to Make Believe Ballroom there.
Who
And
else?
it just hasn't been the same since he's passed on.
Never.
And
Ted Using was a disc jockey for a
yeah,
while.
definitely, yeah. He was one of the ones in the past that brought along a lot of that big band music in that. And I think we need to see more of the big band music back on the airwaves. They say AM's having problems with, and everybody's going to talk, but I think if you bring back some of that old music like you do and sort of put it in a hip style like we try to do on Sunday mornings, mix it with a good blend of some newer material.
I met a fellow the other day named Norman Chesky of Chesky Records, and he told me that he went to see Peggy Lee someplace in town, I don't know where, and now he wants to record Peggy Lee in 1992, and he asked me my opinion. I said, fantastic. What do you? Could that be big, Peggy Lee? I mean, in today's what they call heavy metal
It's
era.
original material. Just keep the synthesized
Really?
material.
What do you think, Pat? Would you like to hear?
I'd love to hear doing that Fever and is
Mañana.
that all there is?
Cape Cod.
Is that all there is? What a song.
Yeah,
Great. And it's a good day.
Yeah.
It's a good day. All right.
Now, I'm gonna show you that there is room for pretty singing. I want to play a little bit of a song from one of the many. Where's some of those pretty covers, Sister Mary Beata? You got one of your CD covers with you?
No, because the CDs are on their way.
Oh.
I have the pretty flyer.
All right, here's a pretty flyer. I want to play a little bit of the pretty voice of Sister Mary Beata. And how many cassettes, how many CDs, how many albums you got in the stores nowadays?
6. This is the 6th one, Joe. This is
Right.
the Harp and the Eagle.
Beautiful lady, a little bit of the voice of Sister Mary Beata, one of our very favorite all-time guests, and her albums and CDs are selling like, not only hotcakes, but like records. A little bit of Sister Mary Beata, a touch, a sample.
We strolled the lane together, laughed at the rain together, sang love's refrain together, and we'd both pretend it would never end. One day we cried together, cast love aside together. You're gone from me, but in my memory, we always will be together.
Isn't that nice?
It's your kind of music. Very beautiful. Thank you.
How could we not ask Tony D, would you consider playing the sweet, silvery sounds of Sister Mary Beata on your radio show?
Listen, I definitely will play it if you send me a CD or just have Joe
Oh,
give it
I
to me.
promise.
All right?
And I will
I
play it.
definitely will. I promise to send it. Now, you promise to play it.
I'll make
If
sure
you
he
promise
plays
to
it.
send it to
How many
me,
millions of people listening?
4 million.
if you promise to send it to me, I'll play it for you.
I will.
Just let me know.
This medley is just beautiful.
Pat Garrish wants a touch of trivia, and then, ladies and gentlemen, a surprise of surprises, the most incredible combination the world has ever known. Morty Storm, the Toad, and Sister Mary Beata. That's like Dennis Day singing Ailey Ailey. You know what I mean?
The third.
and Morton Downey Sr. and John McCormick singing singing My Yiddish Mama, right?
My
First
Yiddish
little
Mama
bit
and Mother McCree.
of Stump the Panel.
Identify the 1949 boxing movie that starred Kirk Douglas, Marilyn Maxwell,
that's
Arthur
easy.
Kennedy, Ruth Roman.
The champion.
Very good. Here's a real tough one. Where was Morty Storm the first born? Not the third, the first.
In the
in an island in
He's not.
Israel.
No, the Lower
Ireland's
East
an
Side.
island.
The Lower East Side.
Morty, on a really serious note, would you give us a 15 or 20-second intro to what we're about to hear? And without being funny, a little bit on how the act came into being.
We met on Joe Franklin's show, met Sister Mary Bayetta. She said, now every show, I don't care, singing, you gotta have comedy. But the problem is, where she works the churches, where are you gonna find a clean comedian? There is none. So she says to me, the flying nun, she says to me, do you avoid clean? I said, watch me. So I went to our church, did the show, and I went to our church.
Okay, I can only hope.
And then it was history. And
Morty, we can only hope that we only hope that Ed Sullivan is watching, or Dave Garraway, or somebody to sign him up.
On the show.
Who, or a sample, ladies and gentlemen, right now of Morty and Sister Mary Beata as they do bagels and blondie. They're doing it all over the countryside with much success. Give us a little extemporaneous.
yes.
Morty, can I ask you something? Now, you're Jewish and I'm Catholic.
I'm
and
not busy, go right ahead.
Are you sure I'm not keeping you up?
I'm not busy.
Okay. I was wondering if you know, what's the difference between a confirmation and a bar mitzvah?
About $400,000. Without a smorgasbord, let me get the line in. Without a smorgasbord.
Wow, you're so deeply spiritual. Can I ask you a few things about the Bible?
Give me a Bible lesson, shoot it to me.
Can you tell me where is the Red Sea?
On my
located?
report card.
Oh, my God.
The Red Sea on the
Who was
report
the
card. I like
first king of the Jews, Morty?
What?
Who was the first king of the Jews?
Charlton Heston.
No.
Clyde Douglas.
Oy vey. Where did you learn the Bible?
In
Where
the
did you-
movies.
God. Listen, maybe we should get on a subject you know better. You worked with Sinatra?
What about Con Edison? You forgot. You got nervous already.
Con Edison.
Who said let there be light? And there was light.
Con Edison.
You worked with Sinatra.
Yeah?
You worked with his son.
That's right. I worked with the Father. I worked with the Son. Someday, I hope to work with the Holy Ghost.
I hope so, too, because you need it. Let me ask you something. What's the difference between the father and the son?
About $350 million.
Where will you be on September 13th?
December 13th, the 20th, the 26th,
Seventh,
and the 7th,
27th.
and the 4th. Sister
about
Marietta
that?
and myself will be at the New York Comedy Club Sundays at 3:30 and 7:30.
3:30 and 7:30.
I
You got
used
it?
to talk once.
There
Sorry,
is
I
the
missed that. Would
new.
you spray it again?
There is the new Mike Nichols and Elaine May. We wish them much success, much happiness. They're known. Isn't that great?
Thank you.
They are known as Bagels and Blarney. And Pat, what is your informed appraisal?
Well, that's something. And I was saying to Morty, he never heard of green bagels. He has a nice Irish nun, God bless her. You got a good combo there going.
We have a great combo, but we
Beautiful
wouldn't
lady
serve
and-
green bagels on St. Patrick's Day.
You would.
Tony
We're not
D.
talking about St. Patrick's Day. We're talking about the show.
Tony D, what is your little bit of...
I would say they're hired. They're hired.
Ladies and
Morty
gentlemen,
Storm the third.
you could be
You're
listening
hired.
to these people. We do a segment called Meet the Face Behind the Radio Voice. And today, we wanted you to meet Pat Garrish, who's one of my very favorite sports commentators. How's our old pal Bill Mazer doing over there? Bill Mazer doing well?
Yeah, speaking
Bill's
of sports,
doing-
doing
yeah.
good.
Bill's doing very well.
Bill
He's
is-
holding. He's 5:30 to 10. He's on.
5:30 to 10.
Bill is a walking encyclopedia of
Monday
sports.
he
through
is.
Friday.
And Pat Garrish is heard when?
Saturday evening, 7 o'clock, 7 to 7:30.
On WEVD, and you're on the same station.
1050.
Same station.
Yeah.
Same channel.
He's in the morning. I'm in the evening.
Right.
Pat, do you specialize in baseball or?
No, we
all
do all sports. Sports memories. Yeah.
I should get your autograph for my brother. He loves sports. Brian Garrity. He's mad about sports. He probably listens to you all the time.
I hope so.
I wanted to thank Pat Garrish in public for organizing the day at Yankee Stadium. The films are being edited now, I think.
That's
We're gonna
right.
Show them pretty
My
soon.
privilege, and I want to congratulate you on 40 years.
Who's
Joe.
the pitcher of yesteryear? Gave us the big tribute, Russ Meyer.
Oh, Russ Meyer. Yeah, he pitched for the Brooklyn Dodgers,
Oh,
and he's
wow.
their bench coach.
Bench
now.
coach
Great
now.
guy, wasn't he?
Ladies and gentlemen, don't leave that bench. We have more to come following these words as we will wish much success to the new team known as Bagels and Blarney. And that's no Blarney. Be right back. We are having such a good time today, right, panel? Say yes.
Absolutely.
Oh, I mean it. We are.
absolutely.
I'm reading here by Andrew Martin in Cab magazine. A Cab magazine
Yeah.
would be short for cabaret, I guess.
I guess, yeah.
I guess that's and he writes that Lynn Ross is another Rosalind Kind. Now, some
Right.
people might know that Rosalind Kind is Barbara Streisand's
Sister.
or half-sister, right? Whatever it is. Sister.
Whatever, yeah.
Whatever. That's good comparing, right?
I was very pleased with it, absolutely.
Lynn, I want you to meet a man who knows all about people's lives. He's got insight into their lives, into their stars, into their destinies. He knows what's happening. Before we play some of your songs and wish you much success to follow that review, I want you to meet Mr. Sinopoli, Mr. Stephen Joseph Sinopoli, whose predictions on our show lately have been getting us quite a deal of attention. And maybe, Stephen, you might pick something up from Lynn or from me or from Pat Garrish or Richie Ornstein. Then we're going to get your reaction to the future of this young lady after you hear her singing. But first, what do you feel?
Yeah, she's born under the sign of Gemini. Gemini is a very interesting sign in this time period, especially when it comes to networking at this point. And this is what you've got to do, a lot of network. You probably are doing that already.
Absolutely.
All right, in the last 6 to 8 weeks, and you have some stalls, some delays. But from this point on, you know, from the first week of September on, you should begin to do a lot better insofar as what you are into. What
Pat Garrish?
Yeah, he's born under the sign of Sagittarius. Very, very interesting sign at this time, especially for career. Anything that is career is going to be really going for you in 1993. I'm sure there's a lot of things coming up in late September and early October. Am I correct?
You're absolutely right.
And there's going to be sort of an explosion for you in this time. You'll probably have one of your best years that you've had in a long time. I would say about 10, 11 years ago, you had somewhat of a similar explosion in your career.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
Right around that time.
What do you
period.
feel for Mr. Ornstein, Mr. Trivial
Mr.
Pursuit?
Ornstein, Mr. Trivia is working very hard, extremely hard, and I think we've said that before, Richard, and you are working hard. You're going to be taking on more and more responsibility. It's not going to stop, you know, from this point. And I sort of feel with you like sometimes an energy loss, you know, just a little bit of an energy loss. Now, you feel that? Somewhat of an energy? Occasionally. Well, this has a lot to do with your health and I know you're into physical stuff because we've spoken many times.
I want to tell Mr.
But energy is
Sinopoli,
important.
I want to tell the whole world that I was on Mr. Sinopoli's TV show with Richie Ornstein, got a big reaction. But I want to ask you a question, Stephen. Why am I in such a reminiscent mood lately? I'm sitting alongside Pat Garrish, and I'm just in that kind of a mood. I want to ask Pat some of the great sports announcers. Why am I in that mood?
You know, you're what is termed in astrology a Saturnian person.
A nostalgia.
Saturn deals with nostalgia.
Right.
Now, I know your chart very well, and you have Saturn in your 5th house. The 5th house is the house of show business, dramatics, and you're always going back to the past.
Mr. Garrish, some of the sports announcers or commentators who might have inspired a young man named Pat Garrish.
Well, I was talking to Richie about it before the show, and as a matter of fact, Red Barber, who announced for the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Marty
Mel
Glickman?
Allen. Oh, Marty Glickman was great. Marty Glickman used to announce the Giant games. Football Giant games.
Les Kiter.
Les Kiter, another great one. And you don't have the announcers today like you had years ago. Everything is a personality. I don't want to generalize, but they don't tell you what's going on in the field. You have to wait an hour and a half to find out what the score is.
Let me give you a trivia quiz. I had a lady on my show recently whose husband sadly just passed away, but he was a sports announcer. The lady's name is B. Wayne, and his name was Andre Baruch.
Oh, Andre Baruch used to do the Brooklyn Dodgers
That's right.
games. That's right.
And this lady's name is Lynn Ross. And Lynn, did we mention some of your forthcoming gigs? You want to mention one? Or?
Yes, I'm going to be upstairs at 55 Grove Street, Rose's Turn, and October 10th at 8 o'clock on a Saturday night.
And a sample of a Judy Garland type song right now from A Star Is Born?
Yes.
And it's called?
Everything.
On the, what label? Or is it what they call a demo?
It's a demo.
Well, I hope you signed up today by a major label. You predict that might happen, Mr.
Absolutely, absolutely. Networking is the key for you. That's very, very important.
Let's hope it sells at least 1 million copies, okay?
Absolutely.
And if you don't get a record label, I'll create one for you. A little bit
Okay.
of Lynn Ross, a very charming young lady, and a song from A Star Is Born.
I want to learn what life is for. I don't want much, I just want more. Ask what I want, and I will sing. I want everything, everything. I cure the colds and the traffic jams. If there were floods, I'd give a damn. I'd never sleep, I'd only sing. Let me have everything, everything. I'd like to plan a city, play the cello, play Monte Carlo, play Othello, move into the White House, paint it yellow, speak Portuguese and Dutch, and if it's not too much, I'd like to have a perfect swing.
So, Mr. Sinopoli, who's going to be the next president?
Well, on our last show, you know, we talked about George Bush right before the convention, how dynamic he was going to be. Precisely what happened. He was extremely dynamic, and I feel he's going to be a big winner.
You think so?
No question about it.
I want to know, where did my half hour go? I want to know, does Lynn Ross have any closing statement?
Absolutely. Let's
What?
play some trivia.
Trivia! Oh, there's a fan,
Go.
Richie.
Little baseball trivia. Who won the first baseball Most Valuable Player awards in the American League and the National League in 1951?
Boy.
I'll give you a hint.
Willie Mays.
No, they're
the
both
expert.
New York teams. They're both catches. Roy Campanella and Yogi Berra.
Nothing
That's right.
trivial, only significant when we say thanks for watching. You're a great audience, and much success to Lynn
Thank you.
and Mr. Sinopoli and Mr. Garish and Richie and Bagels and Blarney and you. Stay well. That's no Blarney.